How to make the world's best mango pie. Ingredients. It's always a good idea to use the best ingredients for the best results. For the crust, cups 300 grams all-purpose flour, 1 tsp salt, 1/2 cup 118 milliliters very cold water, 1 tsp granulated sugar, 1 cup to 6 g unsalted butter, cut into cubes and chilled, 1 several pinches of coarse decorating sugar. For the filling, 6 cups 950 grams diced fresh or frozen mangoes, about 6 medium mangoes, 1/4 cup 30 grams all-purpose flour, 1 tsp lemon juice, 1/4 tsp salt, 1/8 tsp ground allspice, 1/2 to 2/3 cup 100 to 132 grams granulated sugar. C note: 1 tsp cornstarch, 1/2 tsp ground cinnamon, 1/4 tsp ground nutmeg, 1/8 tsp ground ginger. Prep time 1 hour 30 minutes. Cook time 1 hour. Total time 2 hours 30 minutes. Test servings each. To make the crust: 1. In a large bowl, whisk together the flour, sugar, and salt. 2. Add the chilled butter cubes and use a pastry blender or 2 knives to cut the butter into the flour until the largest pieces are the size of peanuts. 3. Add the cold water and stir until the dough begins to clump together. 4. The dough will be shaggy, and dry work it with your hands briefly to gather it together into one bowl without over kneading the dough. 5. If it seems to dry, add more ice water a teaspoon at a time until it is moist enough to gather into a ball. 6. Cut the dough in half, roll each half into a ball, and wrap each one tightly in plastic, pressing it into a disc shape. 7. Refrigerate for at least 30 minutes, or up to 1 day. To make the filling and assemble the pie: 1. Preheat oven to 375 F 191 C. 2. In a large bowl, stir together the diced mangoes, sugar, flour, cornstarch, lemon juice, cinnamon, salt, nutmeg, allspice, and ginger, and toss to combine evenly. 3. Set aside. 4. Take one of the chilled dough discs out of the refrigerator, unwrap, and place on a floured work surface. 5. Roll out the dough until it forms a rough circle about 12 inches in diameter and about 1/4 inch thick. 6. Gently fold the dough in half and half again, then transfer to a pie plate and unfold so the dough is centered evenly in the pie plate and overhangs the edges. 7. Press the dough into the bottom and sides of the plate, then transfer to the fridge. 8. Take the second dough disc out of the fridge, unwrap, and place on a flour work surface. 9. Roll out the dough until it forms a circle about 12 inches in diameter and about 1/4 inch thick. 10. Use a pizza cutter or pastry wheel to cut the dough into 8 to 10 strips, each about 1 inch wide. 11. Remove the chilled pie plate from the fridge. 12. Pour the mango filling into the chilled crust and spread it into an even layer. 13. Use the strips of dough to create a lattice crust. 14. First lay 4 to 5 strips parallel across the pie, with about 1 inch of space between each strip. 15. Fold every other strip back, so they only extend halfway across the pie. 16. Lay a dough strip crosswise across the pie, with one side of the strip touching the edge of the strips you folded back. 17. Unfold the dough strips back across the whole pie, so the crosswise piece is now underneath every other strip. 18. Now fold every other strip back, this time the opposite strips from the ones you folded in step 2. 19. Lay a second dough strip crosswise across the pie, parallel to the first one, with about 1 inch of space between them. 20. Unfold the dough strips back across the whole pie, so the crosswise piece is now underneath every other strip. 21. Repeat with the remaining strips of dough until the space is filled evenly with lattice. 22. Once the lattice is complete, trim any overhanging dough to about 1 inch. 23. Fold the overhanging dough up and press it to create a crust around the pie, using your fingers or a fork to crimp and seal the dough. 24. In a small bowl, whisk the egg with a fork until blended. 25. Brush the crust and lattice of the pie with the egg wash until it is evenly coated. You will not use all the egg. 26. Sprinkle with several pinches of coarse decorating sugar, then place the pie on a rimmed baking sheet. 27. Cut for thin strips of foil and gently wrap the outer rim of the crust to prevent overbrowning, leaving the lattice uncovered. 28. Place the baking sheet in the oven and bake for 30 minutes. 29. Remove the foil and bake for another 30 to 45 minutes until the filling is bubbly and the crust is a deep golden color. 30. Let the pie cool on a rack for 2 to 3 hours, which allows the filling to set and thicken. If you cut into it early, the filling will be quite runny. 31. Serve at room temperature or warm it with a scoop of vanilla ice cream if desired and enjoy. 32. To save time, you can use a store-bought crust instead of making your own. Most packages contain two crusts. Simply press one crust into the pie plate and cut the other into strips to form the lattice. 33. If you would like to skip the lattice, simply roll out the second circle of dough and lay it over the filling. Trim any overhanging dough, crimp and seal the edges. Cut a few vents for steam to escape. Then brush with egg wash and bake as directed. 34. For the filling, the amount of sugar will depend on the sweetness of the mangoes. If your mangoes are quite tart, you may need the full 2/3 cup of sugar, while extra sweet mangoes will only need 1/2 cup. Taste and adjust to your preference. 35. The pie is best on the day it is baked, but it will stay fresh, covered at room temperature for up to 2 days. After that, the crust loses its flakiness.